Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of PCs and EVs. In today's video, we're going to do a walk around, driving impressions, and full review, albeit a very short period of time review with the Ioniq 6 Limited. We have it here in the transmission blue with the 20-inch rims. It's in an all-wheel drive, guys. And yeah, I mean, I've actually recorded most of the video and everything already, and I think it's actually a pretty great car. Sedans aren't my personal thing, but this is predicting significantly higher range than what the EPA estimates it at. So this is EPA estimated at 270 miles of range, and the guessometer at 100% says that it could be around 310 miles of range on a full charge. So I'd love to hear from any of you guys who actually own Ioniq 6s. Let me know what you guys are getting as far as mileage in the real world yourselves. All right, and now you guys join me inside the Ioniq 6 Limited all-wheel drive. Oh God, the first thing I gotta turn off is these fake engine noises. I forgot that they do that on the vehicles. I gotta... Sound. Active sound design. Off. Thank you. Okay. We'll take it right out of here. Man, this thing feels fast for sure. So there's probably still a minor amount of active noise, but as far as what we've got going on up front, we've got a nice black trimmed dual screen setup for a dash. I can actually go set it into, it's in day mode right now. You can also set it to, if I go to screen theme, you can set it to dark. You can also set it to change automatically. I personally would probably run the dark with the dark border. Ioniq 5 has a white border, which I am not a huge fan of. It's got really, really, really good ambient lighting in this car. So I really like the ambient lighting setup that they have on these. I think it looks really great, and I think they did a great job with that. Here, let's go this way. So I like that we still have the camera on display when we've got our turn signal on. I've currently got it in sport mode. It's only got 33 miles, but we're at 91% and it's still estimating 283 miles. Now this is a limited all-wheel drive, so it's got all the bells and whistles. It's got those range-killing 24-inch wheels, which probably don't actually kill range nearly as much as they claim. And to try and find my way to our outdoor shooting location, so we'll get going there in just a minute. I've stopped in that parking lot, actually, to film. So that tells me roughly where I need to go. Let me see if I can pull up map. There, map. Okay, let's go down this way. Yeah, no, this car, especially in sport mode, has plenty of power. So this is 320 horsepower. It's out of a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack, which for most people is going to be plenty. You really don't need to step up to something like a GV60 performance. Looking back, I definitely didn't need to. The only thing that that'll do for you that this won't is faster 0 to 60 times and slightly better quarter mile. Which, if you're realistic, doesn't matter. Like, that's already plenty. I normally drive in level 3, but you still have your paddles so you can switch between level 1, 2, and 3. And you know what? This is dumb. The shifter being right here as a column is not great. We're going to pull in right here real quick, just so I can get navigation to our destination. Now, as far as driving impressions go, I think this thing actually still drives pretty great. We've got that 360 degree cam. Because this is a limited, we'll pop forward to the light, and we'll actually be in the same location that we filmed our GB70 electrified review. And again, thanks to Genesis of Fairfield for letting us take a look at these vehicles. Hyundai of Fairfield as well. I really, really, really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me to be able to make content on new and upcoming vehicles that are honestly, in my opinion, very, very, very good vehicles that just don't necessarily get all of the good press, or not necessarily even good press, that just don't get all the attention that they should. Yeah, this thing is plenty fast. In Eco, we're now estimating 299 miles on a 90% charge. Let's go into EV, click on the vehicle, and then, so it would estimate about 318 miles on a full charge in Eco. Jeez, that's amazing. Oh man, I forgot what this screen looked like in the Ioniqs. I've only been seeing it in the Genesis vehicles recently. Obviously, I drive a Genesis. And we reviewed the GB70 electrified. Wow, yeah, this thing just came off a ship on the 22nd. Because from March 29th to May 22nd, it wasn't driven at all. Gonna get the climate going. We'll set it to a low auto, just so I can have a little bit of AC come over me. It's nice out today. One of the weirdest things with this vehicle is the way that the driver's dash and everything, the buttons down here, all of those are flat, but it's what you actually have on this center console bit. You have tons of storage below, which we'll take a look at in a minute, as well as your two cup holders. You've got a wireless charger, a USB that you use for CarPlay or Android Auto, and you've actually got all of your window controls over here, which is definitely unique, as well as your lock and unlock. You don't have anything like that on the doors, at least not in the front seats. In the rear seats, you do have window controls on the doors themselves, but I think the star of the show in this vehicle is really the ambient lighting. It just looks great. Like, I can't even begin to tell you guys how good this car looks. No, okay. We're gonna park right here. And we're gonna hop out and film. Alright guys, so taking a look now at the exterior of the Hyundai Ioniq 6. They've kept that pixel motif down at the bottom, though surprisingly, even though they replaced it on the inside, they did not replace it on the outside logo. They kept the H there. You've got all the pixels carried over into the LEDs. This is the Ioniq 6 Limited, and it has those really aggressive looking 20-inch rims. And now it is very much an aerodynamics focused car, and you can just see that based on the shape of it. It's a sedan, which who knows how well that'll sell in today's market, but I think that it's one of the better electric sedans that are on the market. You can see the LED motif continued around the rear. Now, it's an interesting design. The fact that they went with two spoilers, they've got one there and one up there, but this one also acts as your rear tail light, and you actually still have some pretty great rear visibility out the back of the vehicle. Now, this vehicle itself has a sticker price of $57,215, and it's in the transmission blue color. That's the name of this color. Now, a lot of the Genesis Kia higher end EVs have a feature known as Smart Park. So this is the key that you get with the Ioniq 6. If you lock the car and then remote start it, then if I hold the back icon, it'll actually start backing the car up. So like you could use it to reverse out of a parking spot or pull into a parking spot, or you could also use it to parallel park. And then if I hit the forward button on the key and hold it, you can see the car starts approaching me. Yes, I know I left the car on. Thank you for yelling at me. And then under here, you actually have a slightly larger front trunk than you get in GV60 and Ioniq 5, though realistically it's still nothing to write home about. This still isn't great. I really wish that they'd give a larger front trunk, though honestly there's not a ton of room underneath. If I were to take this off, yeah, with removing this plastic cover, there's not a lot of room underneath before you get the, I think that's the inverter right there. And then as far as trunk space goes, it's actually pretty respectable. It's a very deep trunk. You can fit quite a lot of things in here as long as they're narrow and long. The instant you get something that needs a lot of vertical space, obviously you compromise because you'll have to turn it over on its side or whatever. Though you do get a powered front with this, which is still nice. You get the two little pull tabs for the seats right there. Now, as far as a look at the interior goes, obviously, like I said before, you've got your wireless charger here. You've got your USB for CarPlay there. No wireless CarPlay or Android Auto in this vehicle. You've got two USB-C ports in the center armrest. You've got a little cubby right there in front of it. You've got your cup holders here, your auto hold button there, lock and unlock for the vehicle, so lock and unlock. You've got your window buttons as well as your child safety button. You've also got this giant cubby down here in the bottom. And I think the quirkiest thing on this vehicle is probably those wings near the sides of the vehicle. Now, they were destined originally to have screens on them because in other markets, you actually have camera mirrors instead of real mirrors, but that's illegal in the US as of now. And you've got your button to open your charge flap, turn off traction control, control illumination of the interior lighting, so like the dash and stuff like that, as well as your trunk button over there, and your mirror controls. You've got this nice looking door sill with tons of ambient lighting. We'll have to see if I can change the color so you guys can see it a little better. It's currently set to purple. Yeah, so you guys can see we've got the ambient lighting and everything. And actually, when I click the drive mode change, it says what color drive mode it's going to. I have it set to link to the driving mode itself, but that's really cool. Good job, guys. That's honestly a very, very cool feature. One other thing that the Ioniq 6 has that the Ioniq 5 and EV6, at least most trims of EV6, some do, but at least Ioniq 5 and GV60 don't have, is an actual functional, I've got my hand out the sunroof right now, sunroof. Nice. Now, it's not as big as in the other vehicles. It's not a panoramic sunroof by any means, but it is a sunroof, which is always nice to have. Now, the Ioniq 6 charge port is actually set way in compared to any of the other eGMP vehicles that we've been able to test. It's got a little LED indicator right there. But yeah, this is completely different to anything else on eGMP. Interesting. And then as far as driver assistance features, this has HDA2 in either the Limited or SEL trims. The SE and the SE standard range get HDA1. Now, let's talk about charging. This vehicle is capable of charging at about 245-ish kilowatt on a DC fast charger. And if doing so, you'll see it go from 10 to 80% in about 17.5 to 19 minutes. Depends on external temperature, depends on the temperature of battery, a whole bunch of things. As far as level 2 charging, you do get a 48 amp capable onboard AC inverter. So you can charge this car up at home in about 6 to 7 hours from dead to full. Dead to full on a level 3 DC fast charger would be more like an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Obviously that last 20%, it gets more and more difficult to push the electrons in. Also, that's actually quite the cavernous glove box. What the heck? There's so much room in this car. And big thanks again to Hyundai of Fairfield for letting us take a look at the Ioniq 6 Limited. I'm actually using these guys for service on my GV60 right now, and they've been amazing to work with. Oh, and if you guys do come down to Hyundai of Fairfield here in Connecticut, make sure you ask for your buddy Mitch. He's the sales rep that I worked with when we purchased our GV60, as well as he's the one who's been helping us get some loaner vehicles so that we can take a look at them on the channel, such as the GV70 electrified and this Ioniq 6. In the future, you'll probably also see me back here looking at either Kona or Ioniq 5, as well as whatever they end up launching in the future.